All right, good evening and welcome to the Heady Vermont live stream. It is Monday, July 23rd. I am your host, Eli Harrington. We are here at the beautiful Jam Creative Studios in Burlington. Thank you to Sean Cimonetti behind the decks. Tonight we've got a great episode for you. We are going to be talking about current events, the Attorney General's big news update, VPR poll that just came out, and we're going to preview the HEADIES. This is our Vermont Growers Cup. Been working on it a lot. We've got some details that we're going to share. So share this, drop your comments in here, tell your friends, tell your mom, get on Facebook. Let's get it started. All right, welcome back everybody. Like I said, we have got a lot to get through tonight. So we are going to start out with some current events. You guys have undoubtedly seen this by now. Huge reaction on our Facebook page. Today, the Vermont Attorney General has issued some clarification about the gifting laws, the so-called gifting laws. In this, you can see the actual text here. Act 86 does not legalize the sale of marijuana. Any transfer of marijuana for money, barter, or other legal consideration remains illegal, underlined, under Vermont law. This includes a commercial transaction, i.e. an exchange of goods or services for money with a purported gift, they use quotations, gift, of marijuana. Examples include selling an item or service like a bracelet or t-shirt with the gift of marijuana. Charging someone for the purported delivery of a marijuana gift would also be considered a sale. Back on. So, what does this mean? There are still a lot more questions than answers. There's still a lot to be determined. We've read a lot of statements from, among other people, Tim Fair of Vermont Cannabis Solutions, and I know that we're all over the news talking about what's going on here. VT Digger, you can see, did a little write-up here. They got some further quotes from Attorney General TJ Donovan. And I do want to say this quickly, that a lot of people, a lot of the feedback online, and we have had a ton of it, still on the Facebook page, you can see that people are still commenting. We've got thousands and thousands of people reacting, a lot of them with the angry face. But I do want to point out that we are in this situation not because Attorney General TJ Donovan, because of the legislature, and because Governor Phil Scott vetoed this same bill last year. So why are we a year behind trying to figure all this out now? Because we spent most of the last year talking about how many joints are in a pound or how many car accidents are going to happen if we legalize it, instead of the really important questions like how are we going to set this up so that Vermonters can get cannabis legally, they can gift it and share it, and God forbid, people maybe sell it and are able to have a small business. So what's that going to look like? We'll see. Still a lot more questions than answers, but we are on top of it. In the meantime, the only advice I guess we can give to people is maybe stay low key on social media. You know, I think the attention, the publicity is really what triggered things. And I don't think that the Attorney General's office really wants to prosecute people. I don't think they want to spend time or resources. And I know for a fact that they all support tax and regulate. So the best advice we can give to you, stay low key on social media, keep it away from people's faces, and let things quiet down a little bit more. I'd also recommend reaching out to Heady Vermont because we do have a members only section of our website. We are a membership organization. We're trying to figure this out in real time too. But that is the big news right now. Other big news that kind of got buried in this, Vermont Public Radio, VPR, conducted a poll, and it's got some interesting cannabis news in it. Starting here. So first question, there are a couple marijuana questions. How likely are you to use marijuana for recreational purposes in the next year? Would you say very likely, somewhat likely, not too likely, or not likely at all? 18% very likely. Shout out to all you very honest people. 50%, 56% not likely at all, or definitely will not. So again, we think about 20% of the people in the state of Vermont regularly use cannabis. That's what surveys have told us. This pretty much confirms it, although it says 27% are somewhat or very likely. So getting closer to a third. Next question, is the fact that you are very or somewhat likely to use due to the fact that it is now legalized? 73% said irrelevant. So that means that the people who were likely to use already don't really care that the law changed. They said 73% of them said it was irrelevant. 23% though did say because of the law. So these are all people who are canna curious and now I guess could be canna consumers legally. A few more interesting questions here on this poll. It does not allow the retail sale. In your opinion, should the state allow the retail sale of marijuana for personal use or not? 56% say yes, allow retail. 31% say no, do not. 8% say it depends. So I think pretty interesting, informative feedback. Two other quick non-cannabis stats that I want to point out to you here. Favorable or unfavorable opinion of Vermont politicians. Phil Scott, 45% favorable, 29% unfavorable. David Zuckerman, 31% favorable, 15% unfavorable. Nobody else is even close as far as the favorability ratings. So if you are a David Zuckerman fan, Lieutenant Governor Zuckerman, his name is clearly becoming more and more recognizable, and you can kind of get a sense of some of these other politicians on here too. I will also say that these surveys are not perfect. An example of this would be, in general, how often do you use a handheld phone while driving in Vermont? 63% of you said never. So, you can't tell exactly how honest people be. I think more than 63% of people have ever used a cell phone in Vermont. So take it with a grain of salt, but some actual hard data from VPR that's got some interesting facts to go along with it. So those are the big news updates. Drop your questions in here, drop your comments in here on the live stream. I do want to we're going to do a little kind of commercial break because we've got a really cool opportunity for our members that we want to share with you guys. So this week's live stream, it is sponsored by Sterling College, one of our new business partners. Shout out to Sterling College, the first accredited institution to be a Heady Vermont business partner. Shout out to them. Reason that we're working with Sterling College is that they've got an awesome course coming up called Healing Hemp, Cannabidiol from Field to Product. Faculty is our friend Kyle Gruder-Curham, Creek Valley Cannabidiol. So you guys see Kyle out there killing it. You see their beautiful work on Instagram. You've seen our videos. You can go up to Sterling College and take a week-long intensive course and learn everything from cultivation through product development, history, legality, growing, value-added CBD, marketing. Now, we have some other people who are going to be there. I will be there myself. I'm not going to be talking about cultivation. I can barely grow a beard and can't even grow hair. So Kyle's going to be there. I'll be there talking about regulations and probably talking a lot about Hemp Fest. I know that Will Reed from Canna Planners is going to be there, probably talking about branding and marketing. Eric Kaka of Phytoscience Institute, formerly of Phytoscience Institute, he's going to be there. So check this out. If you're a Heady Vermont member, not only will you get 10% off of this week-long course, if you're a Heady Vermont member, you got a Heady Vermont card that you use to sign up, you're getting free lodging. So Sterling College, it's over in Craftsbury. It's a hike for most people. It's a week-long intensive course. If you're a Heady Vermont member, you not only get 10% off the entire course, but you get free lodging throughout the week. So your meals are already included. Show your card, use your card, email Heather. We'll drop the link in here. Email Heather, tell her that you're a Heady Vermont member, get that free lodging, and we will see you in a couple weeks. It's August 13th through the 17th, so sign up now. If you're on the fence at all, sign up right now because we need to get the numbers up. We want to share it. We want to make sure we're designing this for the people who are going to be there. So thank you very much to Sterling College for joining us. And thank you personally to Kyle for not only everything that he shared and shown us, but inviting me to be a part of this. And helping to further legitimize cannabis education. Professor Kyle. So check that out. That is in mid-August. All right. We now also are going to move on to our events preview. See how we're doing on time. Pretty good. No interviews tonight. We do have some special features at the end, some very fun favorite new segments that we're going to do. But first, we're going to do events preview, talk about politics, and then our main feature. So just a couple quick notes on the events previews. Want to note that this Thursday is going to be the UVM Field Day up at Borderview Farm, in Alburg. So if you have not seen this before, you can go on the Heady Vermont Facebook page right here and find it. I know that we just barely posted about it. Boom. Northwest Crops and Soils Program hosts their field day. So these guys, it's really cool. Not only do you get to go up there to the farm, they've got great food included. There are a ton of workshops. It's $25, I believe $10 for farmers, includes lunch. And again, you can learn about hops. This is basically a big UVM Ag Extension research farm. So they're doing hop trials there. They're doing hemp trials there. We went there last year. A lot of hemp conversation and a lot of other really, really interesting stuff, value-added products. So it's super cheap. We're going to be up there all day. That is this Thursday. So want to make sure that you guys have that on the calendar. Check it out. It's up in Alburg. Don't take a left turn when you got to take a right turn, or you will end up at the Canadian border. And if you've got your legal ounce in the car, that's going to be a big problem for you. So check that out, Thursday in Alburg. And then the other big event that we've got coming up, which we are obviously incredibly excited for, is Hemp Fest. September 8th and 9th, we've got the second annual Vermont Hemp Fest. Now, super exciting news. Our keynote speaker this year is going to be Seth Crawford, PhD, of Oregon CBD. National players. These guys are breeding hundreds, thousands of acres in Oregon, working internationally. They know the national market, the international market, and they're really going to talk a lot about kind of how they've set up their breeding program and what Vermont hemp farmers should know. So really excited to have Seth on board. I just talked to him today. He's actually a mountain biker, so he's really fired up to come to Vermont in September. And I want to give a shout out and thank you to the first sponsors that we have that have signed on board. I'll go to the events page here so you guys can see this. And if you haven't checked this out yet, make sure you go out here. We've got all the details right here on the Facebook page. This is always where you can get all the new updates. As we just posted earlier, our first sponsors to get on board, our first title sponsors, EASO Goods. EASO Goods. You guys have seen those awesome grinders that we have. We'll have more of them. EASO is so good that we keep running out. So we'll have more of those. EASO Goods, Lily Hill CBD. These guys are awesome. Vermonters, Rebecca and John, been with us from the beginning, supporting what we do, supporting the cannabis community. And all these guys are walking the walk. These events aren't free. We pay our staff, theoretically ourselves. So having sponsors who support this, that is what makes this possible. So we thank them. We also thank Vermont Hempicurean. Scott, if you're out there, thank you very much. Scott was one of our first 3 Heady Vermont members over a year ago. Really been with us from the beginning, and we're pumped to see the Hempicurean grow. And then Elmore Mountain Therapeutics. They are going to be sponsoring our yoga room. Namaste. Thank you very much to Ashley. She's even got a couple of other affiliate businesses and friends like Sensimia Lifestyle, Curly Girl Pops, people that we're talking to about hopefully joining and bringing other people in. So we thank you guys for helping us to grow the community. Encourage you guys to check it out. We'll have more information coming up. We've got a ticket link, but it's not quite live yet. It may have gone live since I started this. We can check it out. It's on brown paper tickets, free advertising for them. It is not yet live. So we've got it set to go live tomorrow morning. You can check that out. But Vermont Hemp Fest 2018. If you have not seen Hemp Fest before, we do have a highlight video from last year. So imagine this, but double the size, even more going on. But if you haven't seen it yet, if you're curious, you want to see what Burke is like, what the venue's like, kind of get a sense of the vibe, we've got a great video produced by Sean Cimonetti, always ready. Vermont Hemp Fest 2017 highlight video. Enjoy.
Hemp Fest 2017 was a groundbreaking event. We brought hemp farmers, CBD producers, and people with an interest in the plant together to learn, share, and grow the community. Feel the tangible excitement from the crowd. You could see the diversity in the people. We had everything from millennials to octogenarian farmers to everything in between, there to learn, share, and connect over what is arguably the most versatile plant in the world.
Yes. All right. I love watching that video because if you start coming to these events, we're still small. It's still a pretty, tight community. And so every time you come to these events, like you see people, you meet them, you talk to them, they become your friends. And then it's like every event we do, you get to see them again and again. So I'm seeing like Eric's in there. I saw Ben in the background, all of our different presenters and speakers, Kyle in there leading the rosin press demo. So really encourage you guys to come out. It's a very inclusive atmosphere, super casual. We keep everything cheap so that nobody gets priced out. So check that out, Vermont Hemp Fest. So I've got a new segment tonight that we are going to debut. This is in the lead up to the elections in November. We call this segment Politicians That Don't Suck. Politicians that don't suck. So we talk a lot about politics, and it's easy to be negative all the time, but there are a lot of politicians who don't suck. And some of them are, in fact, quite good. So I wanted to shout out one in particular who joined us this Sunday at the Winooski Farmers Market. I tweeted about him. You guys can see him here on the Heady Vermont Twitter, at Heady Vermont. This is Senator Chris Pearson. Senator Chris Pearson, he is a progressive/Democrat, a P/D, state senator here in Chittenden County. Chris is running for re-election as a state senator, one of our 6. His 2018 session highlights $15 minimum wage, family leave, net neutrality, legalization of marijuana. Been a longtime supporter of common sense cannabis reform. He's somebody that's been involved with Bernie Sanders, been an ally of Lieutenant Governor Zuckerman, and had a really good chance to talk to Chris on Sunday at the Winooski Farmers Market, and even took a picture next to my humble little hemp plant. So, politicians that don't suck, a new segment that we are debuting here on Heady Vermont. If you have a politician that does not suck, to whom you would like to give some credit and a shout out, drop us a line, send me an email. Feel free to drop the comments in here. If that politician doesn't suck and maybe they even watch the live stream, tag him or her, and thank them maybe publicly for supporting common sense cannabis. So that is our new feature, politicians that don't suck. So Senator Pearson, thank you for stopping by. We're not going to formally endorse any candidates. We are going to be doing candidate surveys. We've already got them set to go. They'll be going out soon. We'll report on all of it, and we're going to make sure you guys are all active, engaged, and informed. And then I think it'll probably be pretty self-evident, where your choices are. Okay. The main story tonight, the question that I have been getting for a long-ass time, the HEADIES, the Growers' Cup. What are we going to do about the Vermont Growers' Cup? So basically, when we started Heady Vermont, we knew this was something that we were going to do. Actually, one of my first introductions to the whole kind of cannabis scene, like industry, was going to the High Times Cup in Jamaica in 2015. 2015, High Times Cup was in Jamaica. Learned a lot. Saw some really cool things, saw some really not cool things, but basically, first exposure to that kind of atmosphere and got the wheels turning about how would we do a cannabis cup in Vermont? What would we do that would be the same? What would we do that would be different? And how can we make it something that fits with Vermont, with kind of our culture, our laws, that's a big part of it. How can we do this? So we stuck our flag in the ground, said, we're doing it. We're going to figure it out. We're going to do the HEADIES. That is our award show. It's not named after any other kind of annual awards that other publications have. I don't know what you're talking about. The HEADIES is going to be a Growers' Cup and award show. So, challenges of doing this, start there. And then I'll talk about the goals, the categories, the judging, the timeline. And if you have questions, drop them in here. We got the super fancy setup tonight where I can actually see these in real time. So drop your questions in here. I will do my best to answer them in real time. The challenges of doing a cup, setting it up. There's a lot of just management. You got to figure out how many categories you're going to have, when you're going to do it, how you're going to divide it up, and then it's a lot of math. So like, how many samples do I need to get from everybody? What categories do I want to have? Just the logistics of it are quite a challenge. The legality of it is quite a challenge, right? Also, just the reality of who's out there and who's not right now. Vermont, we've got so much growing talent, but there are no stores and there are really no brands. So winning the Headies is not going to make your cannabis company 20% more valuable like it might with winning a High Times Cup or an Emerald Cup or a Dope Cup or any of those other things. In the future, hopefully. But one of the benefits is that we don't really have any financial pressure. So really don't give any fucks about the kind of sponsorship part of it, because there's no way to sell out. If selling out was an option, we'd explore it. I'd consider it, but there's no companies, there's no brands, there's no reason to do anything but the most pure competition. So that's what the goal for this cup is. We want to get as many Vermont growers as we can, spotlight. We want to get as much stuff out there tested as we can, and we want to get as many people out there the chance to experience what their friends and neighbors and fellow cannabis community members are doing. So these are the goals, these are the challenges. How do we get as many awesome, entries as possible? How do we kind of screen them? How do we distribute them to everybody? And then how do we quote unquote judge them? I should say, how do we kind of rate them or rank them? Because I think judging is probably pretty unfair. So, the categories. Now, I will say this. This is going to be open to the public, kind of, in that it's going to be open to Heady Vermont members. So if you want to judge, you're going to have to be a Heady Vermont member. If you want to even get information about some of the details, you're going to have to be a Heady Vermont member. So I'm going to give you some details. We're going to give you public information, but for the most part, the short answer is, how do I enter? How do I judge? Become a Heady Vermont member. You get the card, you can save 10% off the Sterling course. We've got a ton of other partners who I'm going to shout out later on in the show as well. But becoming a member, that's the first step. If you're a patient, we've got a discounted membership for you. It's good for a year. If finances are a huge problem, you can't swing the $25 for a patient or the $40 annually, we'll find a way. We'll put you to work. You can give me 4 hours of labor, and we'll give you a membership that way. So, categories. Let's start with the flower. It all starts with a flower, right? Or as some of the kids are calling it, pre-run. So, we don't really have a big testing infrastructure here in Vermont. I don't really know many or any home growers who get their shit tested just voluntarily. So we simplify the categories for flower. There are 3 of them, okay? Indica dominant, sativa dominant, and then the Vermont Heritage outdoor category. All right, so we're going to do sativa dominant, indica dominant, just the 2. There's so much hybridization, and honestly, a lot of it is so subjective that we're going to keep it simple. Indica dominant, sativa dominant, that should be pretty well known and easy to figure out, even visually if we have to. The Vermont Heritage category, really, really pumped about this one. That's all the Vermont outdoor. So the stipulations for the Vermont Heritage category, it's got to be grown in Vermont dirt for at least 3 years. Okay? If you got that original clipping 20 years ago from California, but you've been growing it in Vermont dirt for at least 3 years, that's awesome. You can totally enter it. Okay? The skill here is how well you can produce cannabis outdoors in the great state of Vermont. So again, that outdoor category, it's not going to be about the sexiest numbers. It's going to be about, who's got the goods, and really hopefully for the OGs. There's so many legendary Northeastern New England strains. I've been learning about a lot of them from people who are way more experienced than me. These are not the hands of a longtime grower. These are the hands of the dude who types all this stuff up. So I've been hearing people telling me about the Early Girl. the Montgomery Four Corners, Red River, the Russian Red. I mean, drop some other OG strain names in here that we might be missing. But either way, that's a big part of it, and we're really excited about that. We will also have edibles. That's going to be a category, edibles. We're going to break it down into sweet and savory. So maybe you make some awesome brownies. Maybe you make a badass infused pad thai. Both of these are going to be options. So edibles, we'll have sweet, we'll have savory. We're going to do concentrates. Concentrates are going to be a little bit complicated, so how we're going to simplify it is they're going to be solventless. It's all going to be solventless. There's going to be heated and there's going to be unheated. So that basically means rosin and hash in kind of the classic sense. We're not doing BHO because it's super illegal. We're not doing CO2 because most people can't afford it and there are not enough machines around for people to really be producing it in the state of Vermont. We're going to do rosin because everybody can do that and there's a lot of skill and art involved. And we are going to do hash, respect, whether you're making finger hash, ice water hash, bag hash, whatever you're doing. So that's how we're going to break down the concentrates. That's going to change in the future. We know this for sure, and I can't wait until we've got crazy ass, super ice water, hash rosin, BHO, PHO, whatever it is but pretty simple for the concentrates. And then we will have a category for topicals. We are going to have topicals. It's a huge deal as well. And I think we may have a category for other, but as of right now, I believe that's it. We just updated the Facebook page. The event page itself. So if you are a member, you're on the members only section, you can actually log in there, check it out yourself. Questions about the entry fee. Okay, and thank you, Julia, for asking this. I know you'd asked before. So here's how we're basically going to set this up for people that want to enter. You're going to pay money. You are going to donate your entry, the product, the sample. What everybody is going to get back for that fee and donation is verified lab results. So right now, I think what we're looking at is a basic flower entry, $100 and a half ounce. $100 and a half ounce, nice round numbers. I think that should be accessible for everybody. Again, you're going to get that lab result back either way. Now, if you want to go get your stuff tested before, that's fine. It's still $100 and a half ounce, and we're still going to give you back a test result. Hopefully it matches up with the other one that you got. So that's what we're thinking for the flower. It will be similar for kind of the edibles, for the concentrates. And what we're thinking is that every category will probably have at least 10 different judges. Now, who gets to do the judging? Eli, sign me up to be a judge at the HEADIES. Thank you, 50 people who all texted me that. In the last 2 weeks. How do I become a judge for the HEADIES? Spoiler alert, be a Heady Vermont member. That definitely wouldn't hurt. So for real though, how are we going to do the judging? Basically, we're going to have two different divisions. So all those categories that I mentioned, that's going to be an open division. We're going to have to limit it somehow, and we're going to guarantee geographic diversity. So all the entries are not going to come from Burlington. All the judges are not going to be here in Burlington. This is important to us. We might even make divisions throughout the state and do like a northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest. Honestly, I'm still piecing that together, but that's a factor. This is not a Burlington Cup. This is a Vermont Cup, okay? So again, all of these categories that we talked about are going to go into the open division. They're going to be judged by a lot of different members of Heady Vermont. So it's not going to be me and my 10 friends sitting around. I don't even have 10 friends anymore. It's not going to be us sitting around a table. It's going to be a bunch of different people getting judge packs, sitting around with their friends, talking about it, enjoying it, and then filling out online like a Google form. This is how I think the most democratic way to judge it. And it's really going to be coming from grassroots. We're all about empowering you guys. So I think that's the best way to do it for the open. Things are all going to change in year two. Not too drastically, but they will change. But for year one, the open division, like I said, we want to get as much of this high quality Vermont produced cannabis into members' hands. You guys be the judges, all right? I didn't go to weed school, believe it or not. You know, and even though I got this awesome sweatshirt, doesn't mean that I'm the expert in this state. So judging is going to be very democratic, and we're going to have people from different parts of the state, and we're going to guarantee that a percentage of the judges are going to be patients and caregivers. So, like I said, right now we're still doing the math and figuring out like 10 samples of this category and 10 samples of this category. We're going to break all this shit down, but I want to assure people that geographic diversity, judging by patients, we're making sure that that's going to be part of it. Okay. Boy, and then we're going to have, so that's all these categories, but then we do want to also do something that is kind of really special and really rewards the most OGs of the OGs. So we're going to have a master's division, just going to be flower. The master's division is going to take more weed to enter, and it's going to take more money to enter. We are going to give you, with that more money, not only the cannabinoid and terpene test, but we're going to get the mold, pesticide, heavy metals. We're going to do all that testing. Again, it's going to be about the same price you'd do it on your own. Maybe we'll save a little money for doing a bunch of them, but this is kind of what you get. So not only do you get the recognition of being in it, you also get, you know, some real hard evidence. So you can go after this cup and say, hey, this is my strain. You know, this is what it looks like, this is what it tests out at, and, you know, I came in third place the Headies or whatever. So that master's division, that is only going to be judged by the people who enter it. So that is going to actually mean something. All right, now I'm definitely going to judge it, believe that. And we are definitely going to share this around, but growers judging growers. That's how we make sure that this cup is not bullshit, and that's how we make sure that all you keyboard warriors, all you haters out here, everybody who thinks there's no, I couldn't rig this cup if I wanted to. But I think this is the best, cleanest way to do it if we want to have a pure competition. So that's what we're looking at right now. Master's division for flower only, again, indica dominant, sativa dominant, and the Vermont heritage. You know, that's got to be grown in Vermont dirt at least 3 years. To enter the master's division, you got to have at least 5 years of growing experience. Doesn't matter where the genetics came from, okay? For the heritage category, it's got to be grown in Vermont dirt. That's outdoor. For the other categories, doesn't matter where you got the genetics. You got to have 5 years growing experience here in Vermont. So, more information about that on the way. Doing a lot of the math. Like I said, the way this is probably going to work is we're going to have some judge pack pickup days. We'll probably put this all out through the Heady Vermont members only section. I'm not saying this just to force you to go buy a membership. I'm saying this in part to sort of reference the early part of this, talking about how the stuff is or is not advertised online. I like TJ Donovan. I really don't want him showing up to the judging party. So we're going to disseminate most of this information through the Heady Vermont members section. So pay attention to that. There's a members only Facebook page, which if you're a paid member, you can get on there. And send us questions, but again, know that we've got a lot more coming out. So, let's talk about next year, because I've already had a lot of really good feedback and a lot of really smart ideas for how we can improve this, right? Year one, we're going to kind of build this thing, and we're all going to smoke a lot of really awesome herb. It's not going to suck. Year two, we got some great ideas, so I want to float a few of them by you. One of them, this came from Ryan Pod. Shout out to Northern Roots Nursery, Maple Plus. Had a great time hanging out with you guys at the farmers market yesterday. One of Ryan's ideas that I thought was really cool is instead of doing the indica dominant, sativa dominant, is he said you guys should have a cookies category and maybe do like a cookies category, do a citrus category. And talked about doing a fuel category, which could be like a chem or a diesel. So I really like that kind of thinking of getting beyond the indica and the sativa, because frankly, like, you don't actually know if your shit's indica or sativa. You know, maybe whatever it said on the seed box, you probably got a great cut, but like, we're not out here testing stuff, so it doesn't matter. But I really like that idea of a citrus category, a cookies category, and a fuel category. That's either chem or diesel. So really like that idea. Another really cool idea that I feel like somebody else had this, but I'm just been sharing it, so I'm getting the credit for it, is that this year, if you enter the Master Growers category, we're going to set you up for next year. So the way that we're going to set you up for next year is that we're going to give everybody the same cut. So I think it might be off the winner's plant. We'll see, that might be a cool way to do it. But basically, to tell who is the actual best grower, everybody's got to start with the same cut, right? Same genetics. So at the end of this year's competition in January, we're going to say, if you want to enter for next year, here, come pick up and get this cut. And then you can grow that cut. I mean, if you think you got time to cross it, knock yourself out. But that's how we're really going to figure out who is the best of the best. So that's what we're thinking about right now for the Headies. There's a lot to plan. I'm way more focused on Hemp Fest, right now, but we know people have been asking us for information. They want to get their plants ready. They want to get their categories ready. I have seen some absolute, this wasn't the best job already. It's going to be judging all this stuff. We know there's a lot of heat out there. We know there's a lot of talent out there. So again, we really want to make sure that for you guys in this cup, everybody who wants to enter can enter. So we hope it's not too expensive, $100 and a half ounce. I think that's pretty reasonable. And we want to get as many people judging as possible. So go become a member, stay tuned, and we will have more information, including how to sign up. And if you are a member, check out the members only section, and you can see all this information already. And if you know of any good low-key venues, if you know of any private locations that maybe can fit like 100 people and like 300 or 400 joints in the dead of winter in December. Oh yeah, the timeline. December 1st, we're going to take all the entries, and we're going to spend all of December judging. Like, there's only so many hours in the day for people to get so ripped and judge all these things, and it's going to take time. So basically, December through January is going to be judging time. Some of you are going to have some really awesome family holidays this year. So timeline-wise, December 1st. That's when you got to have the cure ready. That hopefully is good for everybody with outdoor, but stay tuned. Stay tuned. And I think contact us if you have questions, if you got suggestions for sponsors. Talk to some interesting people about possibly sponsoring this. So I think that's about it for the Headies. Again, if you have more questions about the Headies, drop them in here. Otherwise, we're going to do one more commercial break. I want to show you guys Hemp Fest one more time. And then we've got two awesome final segments. You are not going to want to miss these. We've got last week's much heralded Smoke Your Weed segment is returning, as well as our first product review. So enjoy the Hemp Fest preview. Thank you to our early sponsors, and we'll come back with our final two segments. Saying that it's really such a, no, just kidding. I mean, we're like 99% on the technical here, Sean, so you're okay.
Because we already played it, it won't play it again.
I can eat it's all right, I can eat 30 seconds. Andy, thank you for tuning in. Fran, I see you out there. Thank you. Vermont Homegrown. Love and respect. Thank you, guys. What else we got out there? Pot Doc. Pot Doc, it's all right, man. Good people. We appreciate you guys sharing. Oh, I know you are, Pot Doc. Let's see. Sean, what do you think? Want to show this video, or want to just switch over to the other set?
We'll just switch over.
All right, cool. All right, so join us now. Let's head over to Studio 2, our massive soundstage here. Brand new segment. Oh, there's Kevin. All right. A familiar face. Familiar face. Don't mind if really get yourself set up here with the full spot. So, all right. Welcome, everybody. You guys might know Kevin, outreach coordinator, Kevin Driscoll.
How's it going?
Does a lot for us. If you have questions about business partnerships, membership, Kevin is the man. He is the one who's doing a ton of work behind the scenes. So thank you guys all for being patient. He's worked through a lot of technical issues that have just been time and sending you all messages. So Kevin, I thought you were the perfect person to help bring on here. You are a registered patient.
I am.
We have done a patient profile. Amazing backstory.
Thank
But I also wanted to do our first product review together because we were both there when we saw this product.
In front of us, just materialized.
This was, so a little bit of backstory here. You guys can see this is an edible, and one that I sincerely hope gets entered.
Yes. Yes.
So Kevin and I have been working the Winooski Farmers Markets. If you guys are not aware, Heady Vermont has got a booth at the Winooski Farmers Market. It's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Believe it or not, we're the most popular booth at the Winooski Farmers Market.
Feels that way.
Like
feels
the
that way. Every Sunday we're down there, right off the roundabout. You can't miss us. Come check us out.
Yeah, 10 to 2. So we're at the farmers market, and one thing we do at the farmers market is we have our other business partners, and so basically we'll split the tent. You guys are busy. You don't have time to be at every single farmers market. It's expensive, so basically small fee. You come share our booth, and then we all get to talk about CBD.
Yep.
You get to share your products, and maybe even invent new products in real time. So one of our friends from the farmers market, Dan Bergeron, Green Mountain Kettle Corn, awesome vendors. They've got barbecue there as well.
They'll be up at Hemp Fest too.
We've been talking with these guys, and what's Dan's coworker's name who bought the shirt?
Oh, you're putting me on the
Shit.
spot right now.
Shit.
Don't do that.
All right. So his coworker, his colleague, awesome guy. We've been hanging out talking. He actually bought one of these awesome Heady Vermont Stash Co. shirts that has a stash pocket inside of it.
Smell-proof.
So we hang out with these guys every Sunday. We shoot the shit. We talk about vending. They are going to be up at Hemp Fest. This week, we were at the farmers market, and we had, oh, that looks good, Sean. We were joined by Maple Plus. So Derek and Ryan from Maple Plus, they were there splitting the booth with us.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It was a great time.
They were making CBD, they had CBD lemonade.
Yep.
So they were taking their maple sugar. They've got CBD infused maple sugar. 2 ingredients, maple, CBD. It's very, very good. We were hanging out, talking. They were doing their lemonade thing. Eventually, Dan and his partner came over talking about kettle corn, and they make maple kettle corn, right? So these guys are out of St. Albans, maple kettle corn. They came over and started talking with Ryan and Derek, and, oh, you guys have maple sugar. We use maple sugar. I wonder if there's some sort of collaboration to be had. And literally, we put this on the Instagram story. These guys are over there talking. Derek's doing the math.
Yeah.
These guys are figuring it out.
In front of us, just like we're watching.
Talking about the
this new
technique.
product.
They're like, well, we can't have it at this temperature. We can't have it at this temperature. It'll get too hot.
Gotta
Or
wait till the last
gotta do
moment to
this.
throw it in,
Yeah. So these guys are talking, and then 5 minutes later, they bring the CBD infused maple sugar over to the kettle corn pot. Come back, boom. CBD infused maple kettle corn.
Boy, is it good. As
Yeah.
you see, we've already gotten through about half the bag.
Yeah, and this entire bag is 100 milligrams. So, I guess that's like 4 servings. Depends kind of how stoned you are.
Yep.
I mean, it's kettle corn, so it's already delicious, maple kettle corn. And this little extra CBD in there, and now we've got ourselves a whole new product. So we wanted to feature this as our first product review. I guess we should review it, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
One bite. Everybody knows the rules. One bite. Just going to do one.
Gotta get a good one.
Help yourself. You want to get in on this? Oh, yeah.
You definitely want to try this.
Definitely. Again, projecting out to the future here, these guys are making CBD maple sugar. I bet there's some way that they could probably make THC maple sugar.
You think?
Maybe even add in some other crazy terps, like some crazy tangy.
Yeah. get
Like
a
an
nice
orange.
citrus,
Woo, that would be good. That would be good.
Definitely not happening right now, though.
So, obviously this is delicious.
It is.
We were talking, you tried this earlier. You said you caught a little buzz. You went and had, I have eaten a quarter bag of this myself just today.
Yeah, I ate about half the bag. It was nice. I could feel the CBD working.
So, I know for sure that we're going to have this at Hemp Fest, and probably a lot more other cool products that we have not even thought about yet, but This was the first one that we wanted to review. We will review your products. If you've got something cool that you're coming out with, whether it's a plant trainer or an accessory or an edible product or something like that, let us know. We'll try it. We'll try it. And more importantly, come check out the Winooski Farmers Market. Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock.
It's a blast. We're there.
Shout out to Chepe. The paella is phenomenal. We spent like an hour talking with this guy about coconut oil infusion. So maybe this week we'll have coconut infused paella. You know?
Definitely good. We can make that happen.
His hot sauce was really good too.
Well, I think we're going to have maybe some maple sugar infused barbecue sauce.
Ooh, that's true. All right, well, and then let's get to our final segment because I know that we are running low on time. So we debuted this segment last week. Huge praise. Many people are saying that this is the greatest segment we've ever done. Everybody's talking about it. They said it's going to be huge. It's huge already. So this segment, what's it called? Audience members, let's do this together. 1, 2, 3. Smoke your weed. All right, still we're working on. We'll get the rest of the audience in on this.
They'll talk. They'll talk eventually.
So this segment is called Smoke Your Weed, and in this segment we smoke your weed. So tonight we're gonna smoke your weed, Kevin.
We are gonna smoke my weed. Let's smoke my weed.
All right. So while you're packing this, what kind of weed are we gonna smoke tonight?
And we're gonna smoke some strawberry cough.
Strawberry cough. All right. This is one of my favorite strains. This is one of your favorite strains. This is, I don't know how close we'll be able to get on the Zoom. And this will be a whole other part of the cup, is like being able to photograph this crazy. Oh yeah, there you go. That looks awesome. How about that? Boom, boom. So you guys can't tell, but this has got really, really nice purple hues, bright orange hairs coming off of it. Really nice trim job.
And it smells so.
I was gonna say, yeah,
good.
get your face right up there next to that phone, next to that laptop.
Smell that.
Yeah, there you go.
That. Get in there.
There you go. Can you smell that? I know.
All right, so enough letting the drama build here.
Yeah, let's smoke some weed.
Let's smoke your weed. Oh, by the way, if you would like to be featured on the Smoke Your Weed segment, I will smoke your weed. Just get in touch with us, Eli@HeadyVermont.com. You got to be a member. You got to be a business partner. But if you want to join, we are taking submissions right now. It's a great way to lead up to the Headies.
Yep.
If you want to get practice having other people smoke your weed, we're here to help. So, well, hold on. It's called Smoke Your Weed, not you. It's not you smoke your weed.
You smoke my weed.
Jeez, kids.
Smoke my weed.
Nice.
Thank you for smoking my weed.
Yeah, good weed. Thanks. All right. Well, thanks, guys. That was this week's issue of Smoke Your Weed. So thank you guys all for joining us, talking about the Headies. Stay involved. Don't be assholes to politicians online, or they will not help you in the future. And otherwise, take care of each other. Follow Heady Vermont, and we will see you guys next week. We'll be back with a live interview. We're going to announce that probably on Wednesday or Thursday. So stay tuned. We will see you guys soon. Thanks.
Let's